There's a new Tekken patch out. Check this out. Look at this thing. Surprise, surprise. Version 1.09. So I haven't really looked through this yet, but I heard it's a very small patch. So obviously, all your old data is not going to work or anything. Oh, what else they got? They got new Tekken shop stuff, Mishima family armor pack, Miko battle pack, hoodie. Interesting. At least for a playable character. I hate when they're for avatars. You know, I'll see like this one's for avatars, but these ones for playable characters. That sounds cool. I want more of that. What else do they got here? Tekken Fight Lounge, defeating special ghosts in the entrance allows players to obtain customization items. Revive Tekken King, Heihachi avatar, Harada Tekken avatar. That's cool. What does that say? Tekken 30th anniversary hit effect. Player customization item, Tekken 30th anniversary plate for a title plate and title. Interesting. How's it going? Suya, Mustache Spider. Good evening. And then rank match, quick match. Changed matching specifications. Before, if a match was not established with a found opponent, the search range widened to find the next opponent. Doesn't that make sense? After, if a match was not established with a found opponent, the search range will no longer widen. I wonder if this is to do with specifically this case where a match is not established. Like you're connected to someone and then it says, oh, something went wrong or something, or what? Because it seems kind of weird. Like, wouldn't you want to widen the search if there's no one there? I guess it was widening the search too fast is maybe what's happening here. Because this is kind of confusing. Because the concern here, obviously, is that if you're not going to widen the search when there's no one to play, then you will not have anyone to play, you know? But this seems like they had it right the first time. So it must mean that they were expanding too fast and probably getting matches that were farther away rather than closer. It'll be pretty interesting because it's probably because they want people to have better experiences online. So they want you to play people closer to you rather than farther away from you, right? So this should allow that. But I am curious to see how it works in application actually, right? Because it sounds like it's a little backwards. So I don't know. Yeah. So there are some times when it pops up and then immediately closes. Kakoma's tweet? Yeah, Kakoma went kind of off for sure. Is range referring to physical distance or rank difference? This is a good question. I assumed when I read it that it meant physical distance, like farther away pings. But it could also be that it's just the rank distance. But it also is with quick match. So maybe it shouldn't be as much, right? That's also interesting to do that for quick match. Like I can see why you'd want to do this for ranked match. But for quick match, like doesn't it not matter as much whether they're farther away from you in rank or in distance? That seems weird. The other interesting thing about this is that when I play online around like 40 ping, which is kind of like the lowest I can get out here in America, right? Like so we get like 30 to 40. Japan, I was getting like 10. Excuse me. So at that ping range, like some people have more issues than less issues. So I am curious to see how this works, if it actually all functions as intended, where you have a closer distance to all your opponents, more matches in that range. Will that be a better experience or not? I'm very curious to see how that works out. It sounds okay, but it really is a little bit of a head scratcher to read. Let's see. Battle UI added HUD display in foreground. Setting added to prevent health gauges and heat timers from being hidden behind characters. This was an interesting change too. I don't know how many people complained about this, but so when you do like a rage art and stuff, like your character's body now is in front of the life bar, right? Like in the past, your character might have been behind it. So now this setting literally lets you toggle it. I thought it was pretty cool to see it in front, but I can see how it could be, a little bad for a tournament, but like, where's my life? I can't even tell what's happening, bro. It says wasn't established with found opponents, so it sounds like there were people to play, but there was a connection issue. Right. So we'll see how this actual quick match thing works out. It sounds weird the way it's written, but I think it probably makes sense, you know? Anywho, here's the big part, which is also a small part. Here are the balance adjustments for certain character moves. All right. In 109, in addition to bug fixes, can you guys read that? Can I make this bigger? I can. In 109, in addition to bug fixes, minor balance adjustments were made with the aim of suppressing some overpowered move performances as outlined in the previous update announcement. They said Dragunov and Nina. Common heat burst. It was fixed so that certain inputs could no longer be performed after a KO. Okay. That sounds like a nothing thing. Special style. Who cares really, right? An issue in which tracking for some attacks would be removed in certain situation. Huh. All right, Alisa. Adjustments were made to Alisa's techniques that tended to lead to low risk and passive strategies. Down 4, change the damage from 15 to 12. So it's the same, except they lowered the damage on it. Destructive form. The jailing part is more annoying about that, right? During destructive form, forward 1+2. Change the chip damage on block from 10 to 6. Huh. So less chip on some chainsaws. Change the chip damage on block during heat from 15 to 10. That is about a 30% reduction to her mid chip, but not the high chip. So that's pretty interesting because the high is the one that people get away with a lot, right? So now what? You're going to just get hit by the mid because you want to... I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I mean, okay, it's good that they lowered the chip, right? But I'm thinking about all the other options she has when she's in destructive form and how you have to deal with it. It's like, okay, now there's less chip here, great. But does that mean you can take the mid chip better? Therefore, you should stand guard it so they can get away with the high chip more at all? But then you're going to want to duck it. So the block won't matter because you're ducking. Otherwise, you want to step. It's still a rough situation, you know? It's just like now if you happen to block it, then it'll be less. Just get hit by it, man. I don't know. It's a hard thing to fix because of how the system is designed and how she is, right? Like you either take that away from her completely or you don't. Or you make it beatable at the highest level. Like I'm really interested in things like this now. Because if you think about the levels of the game, like say, you know, orange ranks to red ranks to blue ranks to, you know, the gold ranks, I'm sure that the players deal with it differently at every level, right? So if you actually made it where once Alisa is in destructive form and you could sidestep right everything, right? If that existed, right? Like it would only affect the highest level of the game. So 90% of the player base would be fine. And people would be able to like separate and differentiate, you know, between lower ranked players and higher ranked players faster. So I don't know. It's interesting that they only address it in this way where they're like, we did something, you know, and that's about it. Forward 2-1. Reduce the recovery time inflicted on the opponent by 2 frames when the move is blocked, resulting in a change from frame advantage -10 to -12 on block. Interesting. So forward 2-1. Forward 2 is a really good short range mid she's got. And now -10 to -12 on block. That's pretty good. Pretty decent. It probably should have been that. So that's not bad. That's not a bad change. That's a good change. So overall, small minor nerfs to Alisa. Does it really kill her? No. You know, this is a very, very small. This is like a little bit less damage. I'm down 4. Less chip damage on mid chainsaw. And forward 2-1 is now -12 instead of -10. -10 is ridiculous. That should have never been -10. Like that's one of those moves where it should have always been at least -12. Then they should have been thinking like, should we have made that -14? You know, that's kind of where that one is. So Elite players get away with this one basically still. Dragunov. Along with bug fixes, adjustments were made to suppress performance of some of Dragunov's overly powerful moves. Let's see. During heat smash. The duration of the attack and the hitbox of the third attack have been adjusted to make it less likely to hit opponents behind you. Huh. So the duration of the third attack has been adjusted to make it less likely. How do they make the third attack shorter? I wonder if it's just a faster sequence now. Changing the timing of the sequence is pretty crazy this late in the year, too. Like, I understand changing the hitbox of the third attack, but the timing of it is pretty weird to mess around with right before the finals, you know? Like, we're a month out from the finals now. A month and a week. And you've already seen guys like Lohai or Ao, even back at Ao did it during the Esports World Cup LCQ where he would triple sidestep, right? So he's got the time to triple sidestep all 3 hits. And now you've changed that timing, perhaps? That's interesting. Down 2, changed the damage from 17 to 14. Minor nerf. The thing about Dragunov currently, players aren't really using down 2 anymore, right? Let's see what else they did. Back 4-3, to make it easier to evade through sidestepping, the following performance adjustments were made. Tracking performance of the second attack has been reduced when the first attack misses. That's big. I remember seeing Nee complain about that. The hitbox of the second attack has been reduced when the first attack misses. Oh, that is a very interesting change. Although all this actually means is back 4-3 is now worse on whiff. But when you say it out loud like that, you realize that doesn't do a whole lot. Interesting. Yeah, I would love for it to whiff. So yeah, if you're sidestepping it, it won't track you as well. Great. You know, because the hitbox is less of a second hit, when it whiffs, it won't track you as great as well. So that's great. But it's basically the same other than that. So I'm sure at the highest level, we'll see it happen, you know, but it's still not going to be enough, to be honest. The mix up here with back 4-2 is what makes back 4-3 so stupid. In addition to all this other stuff that has going on for it, right? And it's still so fast. Like it's, you're seeing only at the highest level where people like able to duck and launch this thing, right? It's a mid-high string. Like that should be one of those things where like, hey, I know it's coming. He's going for it. All right. And then to cover that, they still have back 4-2, which is a mid, right? So it's like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have ducked, right? It's a super good mix-up and string. And all they did was reduce it on whiff. So not much there. Here's the big one. Sneak 4, QCF 4. This is the do everything move that everyone's been complaining about. The opponent's behavior on hit has been altered to not induce wall stun. So it no longer wall splats. That's it. I thought that it hitting grounded was more offensive. It doesn't knock down now as well. Oh, that's pretty good then. Yeah. Not knocking down is also pretty good. They should have wrote that in the notes. So not knocking down, that's good. And no wall stun. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's it's interesting because when you have a move like this, you can address it in so many different ways. So I'm really curious about how they decide to do that. Right? Because the complaints that I saw from people was mainly that they didn't like it hitting grounded. So instead of that, they were like, how about we don't let it knock down or give a wall splat? You know? But we're still going to let it hit grounded. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, obviously, this character has been a menace throughout the entire year of the Tekken World Tour. But, you know, the down 2 nerf, I got to say, if you watch Ulsan in the last few months, he really wasn't using a lot of lows. And I remember I talked to JDCR at Red Bull Golden Letters, and we talked specifically about that, how Ulsan doesn't really use lows. And JD was like, yeah, we talked about that. You don't really have to use lows of Dragunov anymore because back four is so good. I was like, yeah, you know. And if you guys have seen the match with Ulsan and JDCR, there's that one sequence they have where they both just keep doing back four at each other. Like, this is Korean Tekken, Korean versus Korean. Like, sidestep is in their blood, you know. And they're just like back four two, back four three, back four, back four, back four, back four two. You know, it's like what? Like, what the hell are y'all doing? No one's doing down twos and nothing, right? So this nerf to down two, like maybe it comes into play with these other nerfs, but I don't think it does. I think back four is still super good by itself. So the real nerf here was just to sneak four, which was a necessary nerf. I think that's probably a good nerf. It's good to see that move loose stuff in general because it had everything, right? So that's pretty solid. We'll see how that does. I mean, they didn't kill the character again, which is what I said after the down back 3+4 nerf, and then the character still dominated. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. Your choice before an Okazemi, get ground hit or get wall splat, knockdown, heat engaged, heat dashed. Now it's just ground hit. Or +8 heat engager, heat dash. Yeah, so it's much more Tekken 80, right? So the options are more limited, but I still think that character is going to be strong. So Dragunov still viable. Alisa still viable. Dragunov definitely got hit harder than Alisa. That's for sure. Heihachi. Ooh. This is a character that's very popular online right now. In addition to fixing unintended behaviors, Heihachi underwent balance adjustments to address the issue of excessively high combo damage in Warrior Instinct state. So in Warrior Instinct, fix was implemented to address an issue in which the ultimate count would not increase when certain stage gimmicks were triggered upon hit with the heat engager. Okay. So stage gimmicks were not counting his heat engager. But I thought he gets it just from doing heat burst. How the hell did that work? That's weird. It's like you do your heat burst and then you get your count, right? So you already have the count at that point. So how the heck were heat engage? Oh, my bad. I got it. I was thinking heat smash. It's heat engagers. Because heat engagers are what also increase your count. Got it. My bad. Heihachi won. His jab, bro, what? Okay, I've been playing a lot of Heihachi, and his jab is super good. The range is stupid. Let's see what they said. The issue where the recovery time became longer than intended when countered by the opponent's power crush has been fixed. What? So his jab got buffed? I didn't expect that. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, we realized his jab was way too long, so we changed the range on it. Never mind. It's still great. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe he needed that, you know, to actually hit him. Anyways, Warrior Instinct jab into back 2-2, one back 2-2, the life steel ender. It has been adjusted so the opponent can now perform a side roll when hit in midair. Huh. That's a nerf. That's interesting. Very interesting. Nina. Oh my God, that's it. I already saw the whole list. I was like, what? So 2-3 or while standing 3, issue where a transition to a throw occurred on an airborne hit has been corrected. That's not a nerf.
Mr. President, it's been an honor.
That's pretty wild. Is it a nerf? It's a small nerf. I don't think that's the issue. I think there's a lot of other stuff you could have touched. You know, it's the crazy thing about this is when you think about like 2 patches ago, right? Because 1.08 they didn't touch this character. So before 1.08 they told us like, yo, just so you guys know, there's not gonna be much stuff in there, but Dragunov and Nina changes are coming in the next patch, you know? And then this is the Nina change that they gave us? Oh. Interesting. During Rage Art fixed an issue with the round time for Devil Jin. Fixed an issue in which the round time progressed during the Rage Art animation when it hits Heihachi. Oh yeah, there's plenty of clips of that on Twitter. So that's it. That is it. Heihachi, they just got rid of the unscaled damage at the end with the 1 back 2-2 change. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. It was pretty ridiculous, but like he's still great. Like, everything else is fine here. It seems like, right. This is just a little fix to his heat engagers not counting for his stocks. And his jab was getting power crushed. So they're like, never mind, you're cool. You can jab into a power crush and survive. So that's not the end of the world there. Dragunov mainly was a sneak 4 change. So it now does not knock down and does not wall splat. Back 4-3. If back 4-3 whiffs, now it should whiff. that's the change. So better get that shit on block. Down 2 small damage nerf. Oh yeah, and then his heat smash, 3rd hit. Timing and size of hitbox, so it doesn't hit people behind him. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, Dragunov is the big nerf for this patch for sure. Alisa 4-2-1 -12 now. Destructive 4-on-4 1+2 lost some chip damage, 30%, and then down 4 tiny damage nerf. So Alisa, small nerf, not too crazy. Yoshimitsu untouched is pretty shocking. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Yoshimitsu being like, hey man, look, Yoshi's heat is more busted than Heihachi's instinct, that sort of thing. So that's pretty wild. The Dragunov nerfs actually impact his game plan now. Back 4-3 carried a lot of people. I honestly think this back 4-3 is going to be roughly the same. Like when you're playing, I mean, maybe at the lower levels of the game, right? When people just guess sidestepping, whatever, and they're like, oh, please, like they can get around it better. But I think that at the highest levels of the game, it's not going to change too much. But I could be wrong. We'll see how it goes. What is this, Gilkey? Boom, boom. Yeah, Kuma the Great Sidewalker, bro. Oh, man. Yeah, there it is. Dragunov's back 4-3. No one can complain. Gilkey, you're not allowed to complain about that move ever again. Kuma can sidestep it. But yeah, it's a solid patch. I think that some people might not be happy that there wasn't enough done, especially to Nina or Yoshi. I think that's probably where I would see people complaining. I am curious about the Dragunov nerf. Like, after you have like, what is it, 9 months now of people competing and everything, and you see all the Twitter stuff that people are talking about, like choosing what to change about the move. I think people will be happier with this change than if they had taken away the grounded hit. But I know there's still going to be a lot of people that want the grounded hit gone, So I don't know, man. It is what it is. There you have it. Tekken 1.09. Get it now. I'm pretty sure the servers are back up too. So that's that. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, I might put it on YouTube. You never know. Go check it out. Click the subscribe button and whatnot.